The best compliment my dad ever gave me was, "Compared to last time I saw you, you've been surprisingly normal recently. Keep it up." And I would really try to keep it up. I would even think, wow, I've changed. I grew out of it. To me, I didn't know that I couldn't help it. Instead, I thought anger issues was my flaw. I grew up in a fighting household, in the middle of flying glass and 2 a.m. moves to motels, so I thought maybe I just inherited it. Or that maybe I was just a bad person, highly narcissistic, highly bipolar, having to always get what I want. That's what those around me called it. When I was younger, it mostly came up during fights. I'd become so impulsive and say and do things that after calming down you could never think was me. I was the quiet girl. I didn't run away, I didn't try to jump off of cliffs. And then there's the period after the fight. When I was left alone again, I wanted to die. I would sit and think that I could never go back out into the world again, that I'd never be able to talk to my mom again, that I would never see this friend again. I would impulsively make plans of how to run away and start a new life because I couldn't face what I just did. I would tell myself, why didn't you control it? Why did you do that? I would think back to what I got mad about and think it was the most insignificant thing, so why was it blown out of proportion? I would think about how minutes before I was so happy, because strangely a lot of times these episodes came on days that started out so well. In fact, they would happen on days where I would recognize how happy I was because that kind of high was such a foreign feeling that I would go out of my way to address it and try to keep a hold of it. Days where I put on makeup and did my hair and was ready and excited to do something. When all of a sudden, everything would get disrupted in a matter of minutes. So not only would I lose control, I would ruin one of the good days where things were working out for me. I would say things like, why are you so sensitive? Why didn't you just ignore the comment or whatever it was and just go about the day? Look at everything you were doing. Life is so fair to you and you are so lucky and you just ruined it. You ruined everything good. So I promised to enter a soft phase. A phase where I would stay low forever. I would swear to learn from this and never bring myself back to this version. But then the next time it would still happen. I would lose control in the moment and I would spiral so fast before I even recognized what was happening. The first time I saw a psychiatrist was after I tried to jump off the Grand Canyon on a trip with my extended family. I was the laughingstock. Another bridge burned, another group of people I couldn't see until 10 years later because in my mind only then could they maybe forget the details and say, oh, you were just a kid back then. That's how I see the world. Black and white. I just didn't know not everyone sees it that way. I wasn't properly diagnosed until recently. As I started making more sense of this disorder, I began to recognize patterns. Sometimes while the argument was still happening, the logical side of me would recognize it and start to realize how insane I sounded, but that no matter what the other person said, I wasn't going to be satisfied. Because I wasn't fighting to resolve something. I was fighting with no direction, waiting for that person to say something to end the trigger, but even I didn't know what that something was going to be. I would register myself about to say something so nasty, but I wouldn't listen to the voice in my head saying stop. The other person would often say, what do you want? Or you just said this, but now you're saying that. You aren't making any sense. And I'd get frustrated because I was being misunderstood, except not on a particular line I was saying. Misunderstood on the fact that they don't know that I don't even want to argue about this. I don't even care about this. I don't want this. I don't get joy out of this. I know that I'm only gonna hurt myself after this. Sometimes I would have a layer of sadness. just start over. I was ashamed of myself for a long time, so I never shared any of this to anyone. But then there was emotional attachment, life or death dependency, imagined abandonments. They didn't respond to a text, I would imagine they were having sex with someone. Small things like unable to see someone press the end call button before you, and struggling with any rejection, even if it's just a more stern no to me paying the bill. Sometimes I would switch up. Suddenly I'd be fine, and I'd be so fine. But I didn't need it anymore. I was tired. I spent a whole year self-sabotaging. The minute someone got close, they wouldn't abandon me first. I went through so many people, knowing the ending, knowing that I wouldn't have any of them by the next year. It was a natural disaster. I ruined anyone that came into my path. Realizing that my normal stage didn't mean I was healed. It just meant that I was waiting for the next. It meant it was never going to get better. Before I knew it, I was in the hospital with cops. I didn't die, but it felt like everything around me did. I had tried so hard to keep it out of my daily life. Episodes were never brought up again, and maybe a night's sleep would be ruined, but the next day I would go to school and put on the biggest smile. I'd go to swim practice and shove my thoughts into the water. I was normal. Most of the time, I was allowed a normal life. But I just messed that up again, didn't I? The multiple police, the front desk, everyone else in my building lobby. I messed up my facade, didn't I? I got discharged on December 31st. And when 12 a.m. hit, I suddenly heard cheering and talking and laughter.
Like, I don't really want to stalk or anything. Where is everybody? Whoa! Oh shit! Oh shit!
I'd mostly spent New Year's alone under my bed covers, secretly watching the clock. But today, New Year's, it was so alive for the first time. So many sounds left and right, and it didn't feel like treading through jumbled thoughts or heavy ringings in my ear. It felt light, surprisingly peaceful. I had had trouble finding the significance in things anymore. But here I was, being reminded that people still celebrate New Year's. People still celebrate tomorrow. People still celebrate life. Things can still matter. All of this can still have meaning. I can still repurpose. So I go to swim practice and shove my thoughts into the water.
Wait. I was really asking why I'm walking so long. It's because I missed my stop. But at least now I get to walk. It's the way I wouldn't prepare myself at night because I am scared. And I like to dress myself like a little boy. Not a little boy, a manly boy. Yeah, what's up? Are you fucking kidding me? Where was my invitation?